Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Training Industry Learning Tech Showcase, Learning Management Systems, sponsored by Adobe, D2L, Litmos, Instructure, and 360 Learning. I'm Emma, Marketing Associate here at Training Industry, and I'm so excited to have you with us here today. But before we get started, I have a few housekeeping items to go over to help you interact with our speaker and get the most out of today's program. So please feel free to use the chat and submit questions in the Q&A panel throughout the event. All of our questions will be addressed during the event or at the end of the program during our Q&A section. Once this session ends, a brief survey will pop open in your browser, so please take a moment to share feedback on the session and the speaker. And as always, all of our sessions are being recorded and will be archived on trainingindustry.com. And you as an attendee will receive a follow-up email from us, the link to the on-demand sessions. If this is your first Training Industry event, we'd like to welcome you. Training Industry exists to make connections among learning and development professionals. We offer tons of resources to support your role in L&D through live events like today's showcase, as well as through articles on our website, our magazine, conferences, research reports, our podcast, and more. We'd also love to hear about what you've learned from today's session on social media, so please follow us on your favorite platform so we can continue the conversation. And now, without any further ado, let's get this session kicked off. It's my pleasure to introduce you to our speaker, Justin Seeley. He is the Senior Learning Evangelist at Adobe. Justin, it's great to have you with us here today. Welcome.
Hi, Emma. Thanks very much. I really appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's doing okay today. All right. So let's see here. Get my everything rolling. All right. So I know everybody's joining from home, work, wherever you are. Probably it's Monday, right? Everybody's kind of struggling today. It's all good. I'm coming off of a very non-relaxing weekend myself, so no problem there. Just take a few minutes here, take a few seconds here. Let's just stretch out a little bit and get everybody ready to go. And we're going to dive in. Today, we're going to be talking about how AI assistants and how virtual coaching can really help scale your enablement efforts. And this is across just about any L&D implementation you can think of. So whether that's customer education, partner education, employee education, doesn't really matter. These things that we're building and a lot of other people are building are really meant to help accelerate the enablement of just about everybody. So, I'm going to start by talking a little bit about what I'm seeing in L&D because I go out to a lot of different places and I speak to a lot of different people about, their AI strategy and how they're using it, why they're using it, et cetera. And one of the things that I keep hearing is we can't keep pace with or we can't keep up with the pace of change that's occurring around us in a way that makes sense for us to figure out how to upskill our partners or upskill our employees. And so what I've been coming up with is kind of a theory about how to best serve people in this world that we live in now, where change is such an immense part of our lives. So instead of thinking of learning as simply a destination, I'm trying to tell people to start thinking about learning as a layer that exists within the existing experience of whatever it is your learner is already doing. So if your learner is an employee, think about it in terms of the employee experience. If your learner is a customer, think about it within the broader customer experience, and then layer learning opportunities throughout those experiences. And some of the tools that I'm going to talk about today inside of Adobe Learning Manager are going to help facilitate that. So I'm going to start off by telling you three different things we're going to talk about today. One is learner experience. So we're going to talk about how we can better improve the learner experience for our learners. Number two, we're going to talk about admin experience. So how do we reduce the fatigue of our admins and enable them to go do the stuff that actually matters most to them, which is not necessarily just all of the button pushing on the back end. And then third, we're going to talk about future of work. So how do we keep with this pace of change? How do we upskill our people, reinforce the learnings that we want them to have, and all that good stuff? And we're going to do that in a really cool way. So I'm going to start off here, jumping over to my screen share. And we're going to start here inside of Adobe Learning Manager. And I'm going to jump over to this one first. So if you've never been to one of my webinars before, you might not have seen Adobe Learning Manager. This is what the front end experience looks like for a learner. So it's pretty standard. We've got a learning list at the top. We've got things like calendars, leaderboards for your gamification, your social feed, your compliance status, if you have anything overdue, upcoming, et cetera. And then you've also got all of these different areas down here, which in our platform is all AI powered recommendations. So we take into account products, roles, and skills that our learners are interested in. The learner can specify that inside of their recommendation section, which is over here on the left-hand tab. And then as they start to say, oh, I'm interested in engineering. Well, okay, we have a row that populates that, or they're interested in marketing. And then we also take into account people in their network, people in similar roles, people in similar functions, people who are interested in similar things. What are they taking and what's trending in the network? So these are all ways that we personalize this homepage, but as you can see, the homepage is pretty standard. And if you're using Adobe Learning Manager, that's what the homepage looks like in general, no matter what you do. But we have a new tool called the Experience Builder that really helps improve this overall. So I'm going to show you this from an administrator's perspective first, so you can see how easy it is to use, and then we're going to show it to you from a learner's perspective. So make sure you remember what that homepage looked like just a few seconds ago. We're going to go here down to the branding section of Adobe Learning Manager. And I'm going to go into this new section called Custom Pages. And we're inside of a system right now for Ianavante Automotive. This is an electric car manufacturer. And basically what we need to do here is we need to design a new experience because we're creating a learning portal for the dealerships that are going to be using our learning to, improve their sales tactics and things like that. So what we've got here is our dealer training page. So I'm going to open that up. And so basically what I've done is I've identified the audience that I want. I have also set up a page URL here, for /dealer, so it's easier to get to. And then you can also specify the content that you want it to have available to it as well. So in ALM, we have specific things called content libraries, which you can then specify which groups get access to those libraries. So in this case, we're going to use the dealership training for that. And then the most exciting part is here. That's the page design. So inside of page design, this is something that we've been working on for a while that's really exciting, where you have full control over what the page does simply by dragging and dropping these modular sections. And you can have things like HTML, you can have courses and paths, you can add the regular stuff like I just showed you, the calendar, you can pair that with other pieces of HTML. You can also bring in iframes. There is a ton of different stuff you can do. So for instance, if I wanted to do a 3-column here and hit proceed, and then I can just add widgets. So I don't need to know code. I don't need to know anything else. All I have to do is come in here and select what I want. So in this case, what I'm going to do is let's put our compliance status back on the front because maybe there's something for the dealers to do there. And we'll just say, am I compliant? And we'll hit add widget, and we'll do another one here. And this time let's do something like courses, or let's do the gamification. That's the easy one. We'll do that one, gamification. So what's my rank? And we'll add that. And then the last one we'll do is a calendar widget, just in case we have any webinars or anything like that that have been scheduled that I can take. So we'll just go ahead and add those. And now as I do this, I can always come up here to the top and hit preview page. Now watch how amazing this page, look, we've got a video playing in the background. I didn't show you how to do that yet, but I will. And then we've also got these dealer courses. This is that HTML row that I added at the beginning. So all of these are available to me here. So the dealer course is available. We've got the big calendar here showing you the virtual session that's done here. We've got a link to a podcast, which I can play the latest episode from there. We're also pulling in this iframe, which is just powered by a different page that we have somewhere else, which has EV market updates. It's got updates from our competitors. It's got different talking points in here. You can also see the different car models that we've got, from Tesla to Rivian to Mercedes, BMW, Lucid, all of those. So we're basically pulling in a lot of competitive analysis right here from the homepage, making it a lot more personalized for a dealer. So somebody who might want to know, like, okay, Lucidus is spending the 2026 production guides. Okay, what does that mean? So we've even got a section here. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? All the way down. So these are great ways to inject learning into the homepage without forcing people into, going to a newsletter or subscribing to an email list or going to a course or whatever the case may be. This is all available to them right here on the homepage. I like to think of this as kind of like our way of recreating. I don't know how old everybody is in here. I'm getting up there myself. I remember the Yahoo homepage, so I don't know if you guys do, but the Yahoo homepage was like the thing when the internet first came around. And basically, what you were able to do is customize this page that you could log into every single day, and you could see the news and the stuff that mattered to you most. And I think in order for learning to be more sticky, we have to make it so that what the learner cares about most are the things that we're surfacing here on a homepage. It cannot just be this, diner-like menu of all of these different courses and that they have to select. No, it's our job as an L&D professional to curate that menu of all of these items and give them the ones that are most suited to their taste, to their role, to their function, or whatever the case may be, to serve that here. So let's close this preview and we'll republish this. And then I told you before that I'll show you how to do the video. So I don't know how to do that video with code necessarily because I'm not a coder. I've tinkered around with things like WordPress and other things like that over the years, but I am not someone who writes HTML or anything like that. But we have a lot of tools these days that will write a lot of HTML for you. So inside of this CSS and JavaScript configuration panel, you can see here I was able to import a custom font. So all of that homepage actually has a different font. So I was able to import that. And then I was also able to specify JavaScript here, and the JavaScript enables me to add things like pop-up windows, modals, anything like that to control any of those other appearance items that I might see on the front end. Another example of this would be, let's go over to this example. So here on this homepage for our fictional company, The Egg, when I do this, you notice this little learning hub that pops up. This is something that was custom built by my boss, Alan, and he did this in an afternoon just using Claude Code. He's got a really cool article about it too, which I believe the QR code is probably in the handout that you have available for download today along with this session. So you can scan that QR code in the section where we talk about Experience Builder, and you can see how Alan built this very quickly and easily in just a matter of hours to add this really cool contextual modal box that pops up here. Another one that he's done in the past is a pop-up that occurs when and if you have urgent training that needs to be completed. So that would be something like if you log in and there's a new safety course that needs to be completed before you can, get your certification or whatever. You can surface that type of information. All of that is done through vibe coding and AI apps and adding that to the front page. So very, very cool stuff. So that's our means of customizing the learner experience from that experience builder side. But let's also talk about how we can enable learning without forcing people to the destination, right? So layering the learning throughout. We have this new tool called the Learner Assistant. And I'm going to go over to this section here and whoops, wrong example. Let's go back. Let's go back to the Ionavante cars and log in as a learner. And we have this new button down here in the bottom right. I'll zoom in a little bit so you can see it. It's bottom right corner. It says Ask AI Assistant. So basically, this is an AI assistant that's always on. It's contextually aware, and you can use just natural language to chat with it. And basically, you can ask it just about any question you want. And as long as it has information stored in its content library, because that's the only information it's trained on, by the way. That's why we think it's such a great thing, is because we give it a controlled environment. It's not allowed to hallucinate outside of that environment. So for example, if I want to say, which vehicle should I choose if I have a family of 3 and a dog? So I can just ask it general questions like this. Pretend I'm a customer. I've landed on this site to learn more about how my electric car works, or maybe I'm a prospective buyer like this, and I want to know which one of these models I need to buy in order to accommodate my family and my dog. So it tells me that I should choose the Ionavante Vanta SUV. It's specifically designed for families, offering flexible 5 to 7 passenger seating and up to 75 cubic feet of cargo space. Now, How do I know that that's accurate information? Because there are citations at the end of this. This little number one, let's see if I can zoom in on that a little bit. No, that's about as far as it'll zoom. So I've got number one and number two. When I hover over those, it tells me what it is. So this is Introduction to Ionavante Automotive. If I click on that, that's a course. So I didn't have to search for this course. I just had to ask a question. So this is a question I was interested in, a problem I was interested in solving, and this is the answer, either right here directly in the AI assistant. So I could have just moved on. But if I want to dive deeper, make sure the information is accurate or get more information, I can enroll in this course directly, launch it by clicking one of the pre-work or core content items down here, or I can simply save it to my learning list and I can come back to it for later. So this is removing the friction of discovery that a lot of learners encounter inside of a traditional LMS. All I had to do was give them the opportunity to pose a question, get a response, and then the discovery happens naturally by clicking on those two citation points there. I could also choose to show the sources, and that'll show me the sources directly inside of this panel. I don't have to launch this at all. If I click with these links, they will take me to the same page, or I can just bookmark them directly from here so that they'll be saved to my learning list for later. So again, think about if this was not just the LMS, but a headless experience wherein ALM acts as the spine or the background information, and then it's layered on top of something like your intranet or your marketing hub or whatever it might be. And that assistant is able to be surfaced headlessly on top of that. You could give them answers to things while they're in the flow of whatever it is they were doing. If they were exploring your marketing website, if they were doing something inside of a tool or something like that, you could surface this layer of learning on top of it, give them instant access to the information they need. And if they really wanted to dive deeper, they could go to the destination, but they don't have to. And that's the big thing here. Reduce the amount of friction and fatigue that occurs with traditional learning by layering in these tools like this on top of it. And so from a learner's perspective, that does wonders because it gives me the answers I need right in the flow. It does not take me out of anything, and it also makes it super easy for me to stay engaged with the content because it's right there in front of me. Now let's switch over here to the egg, and let's assume for a second that maybe I'm not a customer. Maybe I am a salesperson. And we'll zoom in here a little bit so you can see it better. Let's assume I'm a salesperson for the egg. And I'm coming in here and I want to know some information because I have to communicate with a customer. But we've just launched this new egg and I haven't completed all of my enablement materials yet. So, okay, I have a customer considering a smartwatch instead of the egg. Please help me write an email to the customer to persuade them to purchase the egg instead. So I've got an email from a prospective customer. The customer is telling me, you know what, man, like I really think the smartwatch is the play for me. And I'm saying this thing, hey, use everything that you have to help me draft an email to solve this problem. Well, boom, it does it automatically for me. And inside of the response is just the email, by the way. It's not a lot of, oh, you're right. That is a great idea. It doesn't do anything like that. All of the sycophantic responses, our assistant does not do that. But it does include those citations. Now, what are these citations? Well, in this case, it's all based off of the information that it has in the background. And one of those things is the Egg Ambient Intelligence Field Guide. And if I download that, it's a PDF and I can open it directly once it's downloaded. And this is everything I need to know about the egg itself. A 10-second explanation, what are the problems that it solves, the value prop. Here are all of the different what the egg is, what it's not. You can see this is a really comprehensive document that I instantly have access to here. I didn't have to sift through a high spot directory. I didn't have to go to the intranet and search for that. This is surfaced directly to me inside of the assistant, again, removing the friction of discovery. And it also has done the job of generating that email for me. I can take that, copy and paste it directly into my email, replace the sections with my name and my customer's name, and I'm good to go. So again, helping you remove the friction of discovery and also enabling you in the flow of work. That's one of the biggest aims of these tools. Now, I mentioned before that we also have an administrative side of this. So the admin side of this is our AI admin assistant, and that's here on the back end when I'm logged in as an administrator. And especially if you're new to Adobe Learning Manager, or if you've been around a while like me, sometimes, we move things around or you forget where things are. And so one of the things that this does so well is it actually eliminates the mental fatigue of, hey, where's that button again? So I can come in here and say, how do I run a report on the latest enrollments and completions for my course? And I can ask it that information. And what it's going to do now is go out to our Adobe Experience League website. Again, it's a very contained system. So it only goes out to the Adobe Experience League. That's where all of our support documentation lives. And it's going to pull not just the information, but it's going to give that back to me in step-by-step instructions. Here you go. So it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 steps. It's also giving me a little note here to say, hey, if you need the visual representation, you can create a dashboard and report. And then it gives me the sources for that information, which would take me to the Experience League website if and when I needed to. So this is just another one of those ways. Again, we're trying to reduce the mental fatigue, trying to reduce the amount of time you spend clicking the buttons that you don't have to, and all that good stuff. We're also working on another iteration of this tool that's going to help you do things like generate the reports and build things directly in there as well. So that's the admin side of things. And I know that we're going to run out of time if I don't switch gears here. So we're just going to get to the big one, the last one that we're going to talk about today, and that is the future of work. So we have a brand new tool launching inside of here called the Virtual Coach. So we have this new row that's going to be available at the top of the learner homepage called Learn with Virtual Coach. And Virtual Coach is basically an interface wherein I, as a learner, can converse with an AI avatar and have a conversation with it and then get graded on that conversation. This could be something like management soft skills. This could be something like sales, but you can also do things like analyze a process. So I can upload a video of the process of me doing something inside of a tool, and then I could have the learner have to articulate back to me what that process is. The AI will use the video and the learner's responses to kind of, judge against how well they did. In this example today, we're going to be addressing an underperforming employee. So I'm going to launch this. I'm going to give you a fair warning before I start. This thing's going to talk to me. I'm going to talk back. It's going to be about a 5-minute demo, and then we're going to go into the report card. This thing is not going to call me by my name because I am inside of a development environment with one of our engineers today. So if you hear it not say Justin, that's totally expected behavior. So let's open this up. It's going to try and register my face and my voice here in just a second. And once we see a dancing audio bar, it should unless my internet goes kaput. That would be fun too. Okay, let's try this one more time. Oh no. It's frozen. Okay. Tell you what, let's try a different one. This is a staging environment, so it could, oh yeah, it signed me out completely. Okay. All right. Let's try that one more time. So account inactive. I don't need it to be active. There we go. Let's go to the front and let's see if we can get it to go this time. Nope. All right. Well, that's okay. Apparently, so this is, like I said, it's on a staging server. It's not able to be reached right now. I'm assuming that means that they are doing something to it. So what I'm going to do is just kind of switch gears here and go over to a quick thing here. Present this. Oops. Switch displays. Come on. There we go. All right. So the virtual coach looks like this. I have a video on this that I'll send you after this session is over. I'll send it to Emma and Liz so that way they can take a look at it. But basically what happens here is you interface with this virtual avatar. So that's me on the right and that's the virtual avatar on the left. And you have a conversation with it. And as that conversation is going, it's recording the conversation, both audio and video. And then after it's completed, you get a report card. And as an administrator, you can set up that report card ahead of time to say exactly what it is supposed to do, how you're supposed to be judged, whether or not you want to weight it differently. So you get 2 points to weight it on, either style or knowledge proficiency. So you can change the weighting on that. And once you do that, the learner is then judged on those parameters and they get a feedback scorecard that's rated out of 100%. And you can set the passing score for that. And then you can allow them to download that report and then they can track their metrics over time to see how you close the gap. So that is basically how the system works. Again, I'll send you the video of this. Again, it's on our production servers, which are in control of people in India right now. So they're probably working on it, wrapping up their day, and that's probably what's going on right now because that's usually when that occurs. But in any case, here is basically the overview of where we're trying to go. So we're trying to give you all of these different learning layers that are available to you, whether you're a learner, an admin, or someone who's looking to come in to upskill yourself, whatever the case may be, or even a learning design professional. So we've got AI powered personalization, which I talked about at the front. We've got AI assistance for learners, which is what we showed you there. We've got a new feature coming soon called the Learning Path Creator, where you're going to be able to, as a learner, just say, hey, I'm interested in this role, build me a learning path to get me there. Then we've got our virtual coach, which we just talked about. And then we're also working on a new tool for generative learning design, which would allow you to generate a course directly from text-based input, which is something that we're very excited about as well. Now, if you happen to be attending the Adobe Learning Summit, which is happening at the end of June here in a couple of weeks in Las Vegas, we're going to be showcasing a lot of these pieces of technology. And if not, it'll be available shortly thereafter on our YouTube channel for you guys to watch as well. So I highly recommend that you do that. Now, I'm going to exit out of there and we're going to stop sharing for just a minute. And if anybody has any questions in here, I'll be glad to answer them. So, Emma, I don't know if we had any questions that popped up. I
We
can't
do. There's
see
a
the panel.
few.
Sure.
Um, there's a couple questions about the AI. Is the AI assistance an MCP for Adobe Manager? Are there any limitations to where it can be embedded?
We can surface it headlessly just about anywhere that we want. It depends on what system you're talking about and whether or not we have a direct integration with that or whether or not we have to use APIs. But in general, the rule is yes, it just as long as that thing has an API and we have an API. So,
Okay. There's another question from Carolina. And I think this was about the thing that you were showing us before, the virtual coach.
yep.
What AI engine is used here? Gemini or something totally different?
So we're using Adobe's AI here. So the back end of that, I believe is it called Firefall or something? I forget
Fire,
exactly
Firefly?
what it's actually called.
Okay.
It's not Firefly, that's our image generation, but it's
Okay.
kind of the basic thing. So it's Adobe's homegrown AI, and it's all embedded throughout all of these systems.
How is the security on this? How does it respond to concerning or incorrect information?
So the incorrect information is very rare because the only way that it is able to even give a response is if a piece of information exists inside of the content library of the LMS itself. So it does not go out and search the internet. It does not go out and search any other databases. It only searches the ALM database, and that's something that's in your control. So as long as you have content and it's up to date, it should pull from there and there only.
Great. We're running out of time here, but I've got two people who want to learn more about the Learning Path Creator.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so I don't have anything to demo today for that, unfortunately, but in 2 weeks I will. So if you want to reach out to me on LinkedIn, I'll be more than happy to send you all of the resources once those are available publicly, and I can get those to you.
Fantastic. For the AI, can it read all file types, SCORM, videos, PDF?
Yes, so it can read SCORM packets, it can read video transcripts, it can read PDFs, HTML files, Word docs, you name it.
All right, I'm going to squeeze in this last one. Can the content uploaded to the LMS stay on our own company servers?
It's You mean so you want to have the LMS on-prem? This is all cloud-based as of now. It's not to say that we can't have that conversation necessarily, but out of the box, this is only in the cloud right now.
Okay, great. And then we had this question from George. Where can you buy the software? Do you have a website? What is the price? We'll include some of that information in the follow-up email, but if there's anything you want to say to that,
Yeah,
Justin.
you can go to learningmanager.adobe.com and there's a lot of information about it there. The pricing is subject to how many users per month we're talking about and everything like that, and a salesperson can get you the details on that.
Fantastic. That's all of our questions. We got through them all. Thanks so much for your time today, Justin.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And thanks everybody for bearing with me through the technical issues. I really appreciate it. And I hope everybody has a great day.
All right, y'all. Great second session. Up next, we have a 15-minute break, and then we'll be joined by Leo Sylvia for their session sponsored by Instructure. That will be Build Skills-Based Programs You Can Measure. I hope you all stick around for the next session that begins at 12:30 Eastern. Have a great day, everyone. See you later.